Kimmo, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yeah, so you are in the data world as well as robotics currently. How did you get into that?
Yeah, so my background is from the market intelligence field. So back in the days, I was running a market research company that was publishing data-driven market reports from around 200 industries, 100 countries. And that was the old way of offering that market information to the clients. And I was running that company for several years, and but the market started to change, and the clients wanted to consume the same information in different ways. So we found a new company called Statzon, and we developed a platform for accessing the deepest and most up-to-date market information available in the world. So that's basically how we started the company.
And currently you're starting off with the robotics industry, is that correct?
Yes, so we have, as we have the background in the market intelligence, so we are discussing with a large amount of clients, including consulting companies or investment banks, and we have learned about a wide range of topics they might be interested in their projects. And once we have had a lot of discussions with clients, we have learned the hottest tech trends, and based on that, we started with robotics and automation related stuff, because that's affecting a lot of industries, both consumer and industrial segments and healthcare, and basically everything. Everything will be related to automation or robotics. So that was the hottest topics that we found to start our market data business.
And what type of data are people looking to get their hands on? So when they go into your platform and they log in, what are they trying to put together for themselves?
Yeah, so basically our clients, they might be large robotics companies or smaller startups, but basically they have the same kinds of needs. People in the companies, they are building or developing strategies or expanding their businesses, and they need reliable data about the industry. If we are talking about like autonomous mobile robots or industrial robots or robot vacuum cleaners, the clients normally need to understand the market size, growth rates, market players, and how the market is split into different segments. So they try to get this information, and based on that information, they can decide where to expand businesses, or if they are launching new products, for example. They need this information, and traditionally they have purchased market reports, or even in large companies, people say that we go to Google and try to find something, and spend huge amounts of time to get literally not any useful information. So that's where we are trying to help people to access the needed data extremely fast and easily.
Okay, so I'm kind of thinking of, there's a sales platform called Zoom Info, and there was Discoverorg, which was bought by Zoom Info for sales and marketing teams to go in and find contact information, look up company info. Is that similar, but for the robotics industry?
Maybe the Zoom Info and that kind of products are for salespeople to have new leads for the sales, but our platform is more for strategy development and market monitoring. If we have clients working in collaborative robots, for example, and they need to understand the market trends and the growth and all different segments. So this is basically a market research solution in a modern way.
Got it. So business leaders within the robotics industry say they come out with some sort of nursing robot that's working at hospitals, and they're trying to figure out other use cases, or maybe what's a version 2.0 or another robot that would also be beneficial to hospitals, or maybe specifically nursing centers, nursing care centers, then they would be able to accelerate their market research with high quality data in order to be able to move faster and stay on trend. Is that accurate?
Yeah, so we might have a client producing like mobile robots that are currently used in, for example, hotels, and they want to expand to other use cases also, and they need data to understand. For example, they can learn from the data that, okay, hospital and healthcare segment is growing much faster than the hotel segment. Maybe we should expand our product to that segment.
It makes a lot of sense. What are some of the more exciting use cases that you're seeing customers use their robots for right now?
It's exciting as, for example, collaborative robots. They are extremely hot segment within robotics, and they are used in very wide scale of applications and end uses. So that's one interesting stuff. And also the autonomous mobile robots, and where they are used in delivering food or whatever can be delivered. So that's extremely interesting.
It's interesting. We tend to think of, there's the commercial here in the United States where Domino's, the pizza delivery company, has an autonomous vehicle developed by Neuro, I believe. And, it cruises to the person's house. The person comes out and grabs their hot pizza, and everything's taken care of. And we tend to think of those or talk about those in terms of autonomous vehicles, but they're actually robots.
Yeah, that's interesting. And what is also interesting in technology nowadays, everything seems to be related there, like 5G or IoT and robotics. They are networks, and 5G connections are developing fast, which makes it possible to do this kind of stuff. So it's interesting to see how these hot topics are developing.
The first kind of robot that you said is hot right now, did you call that cooperative robotics or
collaborative robots, or cobots?
cobots? Yeah, so those are a combination of a human being paired with a robot in tandem. Is that close?
Yeah, so they are humans are working together with the cobots, so they are much safer than traditional industrial robots, and so they are working together with people.
I've seen maybe on the factory floor where the cobot can be supervised by a human, but the robot is actually, or the cobot is doing the heavier lifting, the more dangerous stuff, which saves the human's body. We only get one meat suit in this entire lifetime, so that's probably a good use case.
Yeah, so cobots we have clients building some end effectors for cobots. So cobots are used in material handling or assembly work, or even screw driving and that kind of stuff. So that's really interesting, because collaborative robots, they are making the robots use case. It's much wider than traditional industrial robots that are much more expensive, and the return on investment times are much longer.
So these cobots are driving down costs?
Yeah, they are smaller, and the average price of cobot is between 20 to 30,000 euros. So even smaller companies can automate some processes with cobots. So they are, the return on investment, it's very good.
So it's the idea that tech democratizes and gives access to more people to be able to enter into a marketplace. It sounds like that's what's happening with robotics as well.
Yeah, so that's like same thing. Then more people are getting access to internet because of good connections. So that's quite the same kind of stuff. So even smaller companies can invest to a robot and benefit from that with cobots.
What kind of small businesses or smaller businesses are you seeing taking advantage of robots?
All kind of industries. They can be food industry using cobots in like packaging, or as mentioned, one of our clients is building end effectors for cobots, especially for screw driving. So screw driving could be used in assembling some stuff. Then cobots can be used in basically any kind of material handling. So it's making it possible for smaller companies to be more efficient with working with robots.
So the prices of robots are coming down, but then the robots are decreasing labor costs because you're able to go 24/7. The robots don't get tired. And as long as you provide proper maintenance on them, I would imagine improved accuracy as well, while getting a massive amount of data back from the individual robot units themselves, which then can be leveraged for the business too.
Yes, that's of course same thing with any kind of automation. So people always make mistakes, but machines do what they are set to do. So that's interesting, whether it's robots or robotic process automation or software robots or that kind of stuff.
Now, in some places here in the US, the rollout of 5G has been slower than what people thought it would be. Um, when that hits a certain critical mass, what kind of benefits do you think we'll be looking at?
That's interesting to follow, because then we're talking about topics like IoT. So when we have good connections, so basically not only robotics but machines are connected to each other, so that increases interesting possibilities.
Now, before we got on, you mentioned that you're starting off in robotics, but you'll be working in other industries as well.
Yeah, so the starting point for us is to cover robotics and automation field as deep as possible, and then we already have clients that are operating in robotics, but they are also interested in other topics, like if we have a consumer robotics company, they are also interested in some other consumer segments like smart home, for example. So that's our long-term goal, is to cover basically all the industries and technologies. But as we start with robotics, and then we are building the content with our clients. So the next interesting verticals that we will add are related to other emerging technologies like IoT or 5G or that kind of topics. For example, topics within Industry 4.0 are extremely interesting for our clients if they are building like industrial robots, so they are interested in all that kind of automation.
What are so the ability to pull in all of that data and to ingest it in such a way as then to sanitize it and make it useful. Can you talk a little bit about that level of effort from an insider's perspective?
Yeah, so basically what we do at Statzon, we are developing the platform. Our goal is to build the easiest and the fastest way to access information about different industries. So now we have robotics quite very well covered already. Of course, we are all the time developing the platform. We have already 130 research partners or something like that. So once we start scaling the verticals, that happens quite fast because we have the agreements in place. So we try to make fine. There's no use in just accessing a huge load of data if you don't get the information out of that. So we are trying to make that process very easy and fast for our clients. So if we have a client working in a smart home, for example, in the future, and they want to understand the German market, so when they have this need, we try to offer them clear answers as fast as possible.
You mentioned research partners. Is that the only consumption source, or because I'm trying to think of as user privacy becomes a thing, and we're talking about digital IDs, and so that there's still relevant content being delivered by and from people. Is that impacting you all in any way outside of research?
Of course, that's in all digital business that needs to be taken care of, but we don't handle that kind of personal information in our platform. So maybe that's not so relevant for us in this case.
So when you consume the research data and make it useful, is that in and of itself a manual task, or is that process automated, or is it somewhere in between?
We are a startup company, so of course everything is not ready yet. Sure. But we have a lot of things already automated, and but I don't believe that artificial intelligence or any kind of intelligence is currently good enough to make it make the output as good as possible for people who need the data. So I still believe that people are still needed in putting all together. Of course, we are trying to automate, like robots are used in factories. They are doing basic stuff that can be done easily. So that's the same thing that we are automating stuff bit by bit to avoid any bottlenecks, and people are still doing the stuff that needs a human brain. But maybe at some point in the future, also more stuff can be done with artificial intelligence. So that's what we are planning to do in the future.
Yeah, I see that in the cybersecurity realm as well, where what can be automated is automated. And of course, the system becomes more intelligent over time. So alerts get better. It finds stuff faster, more accurately. But there's still this need for human level intelligence that can really dig deep on not just creative, but really thinking through situations to deliver the maximum amount of value. And it sounds like that's what you all are working towards yourselves.
Yeah, that's quite the same stuff. So basically what we are doing, we are aggregating information, a huge number of different kind of sources, and putting data and information to a simple, easily to understand format. So still need some human brain at this point to make it clear and easy to understand.
What stage of startup are you all at right now?
The company was founded in the end of 2018. We have been developing the platform and discussing with potential companies globally. We have already interesting clients, larger players and smaller ones. So we have raised some seed funding a couple of times. Later this fall, we are planning to raise a bit larger round than earlier. So we currently have found a working model in the robotics and where we get the data. And so we are trying to create a win-win model for both research companies that are producing the interesting data, and for the companies who need this information. So we try to develop a win-win business model for both. So we have found a working model, and now we start to scale the verticals a bit later, and also expansion globally.
When do you think you'll be opening up the platform to more users, where you would really want to start driving with marketing?
Yes, so we are already selling globally and have some well-known client companies using our platform. So we are already selling and marketing. Of course, our marketing budgets are still at startup level, but later this year we are raising more funding and having larger budget and more people doing the marketing and sales. So earlier our goal was to find a final working model, so that we have found that earlier. So now we are selling the platform. The robotics companies are of course developing it all the time and discussing closely with the clients what we can do better and what are the other verticals they might be interested in.
What's your ultimate goal for the company?
Ultimate goal is to be the number one by the end of this decade in this industry. So basically, as mentioned, the starting point is in robotics, but we want to be the Spotify of market research. So wherever people need information, whether it's robotics or bakery products or whatever, is so nowadays people go to Google to look for market information. So we want Statzon to be the place when people need information about different industries. They come to our platform and they find the information the easiest and the fastest way.
That's awesome. Kimmo, I know that so we're talking from across the world, and I really appreciate you taking the time to illuminate on your thoughts on what's happening in robotics and with data and what you're trying to accomplish with your company and how forward thinking you are. I really appreciate your time.
I really appreciate your invitation.
Thank you.